upbeat, mysterious music intro fades slightly to background. Have you ever heard of a group that promised a journey to the stars, a life beyond our earthly existence, only to lead its followers down a path of unimaginable tragedy? Today, we're delving into the complex and chilling story of the Order of the Solar Temple, a group that blurred the lines between spiritual enlightenment and devastating delusion. It's a story of hope, manipulation, and a finale so shocking it continues to raise questions decades later. What drove dozens of people, from all walks of life, to believe their destiny lay not on Earth, but on a planet circling the star Sirius? To understand the Solar Temple, we need to go back to its founders, Luc Jouret and Joseph de Mombreau. Jouret was a charismatic Belgian homeopath, a captivating speaker who could charm just about anyone. De Mombreau was the quiet mastermind, a jeweler and esotericist who claimed to have mystical powers and connections to ancient secret societies like the Knights-Templar. Together, they created a powerful duo. Jouret was the face of the group, traveling and recruiting, while de Mombreau pulled the strings behind the scenes, crafting the group's elaborate mythology. They established communities in Switzerland, France, and Canada, attracting a surprisingly diverse following. These weren't just lost souls. They were doctors, lawyers, civil servants, and successful entrepreneurs. So, what was the appeal? The Order of the Solar Temple offered a compelling cocktail of beliefs. It mixed New Age spirituality, environmentalism, and a modern reinterpretation of the Knights-Templar legend. They preached that Earth was facing an imminent apocalyptic environmental catastrophe, but they offered a unique escape plan, a transit to a higher spiritual plane on a planet orbiting the star Sirius. For people feeling disillusioned with modern society and anxious about the future, this message of salvation and special purpose was incredibly seductive. Life inside the order, at least initially, seemed idyllic for many. Members lived in communes, pooling their resources and living a life dedicated to spiritual growth. They practiced elaborate rituals, wore ceremonial robes, and believed they were part of an elite group chosen to survive the end of the world. There was a strong sense of community and shared purpose. They felt they were part of something bigger than themselves, working towards a noble cosmic goal. Some former members have spoken about the genuine camaraderie and the initial feeling of belonging and enlightenment they experienced. For a time, it seemed like they had found a utopia, a sanctuary from the chaos of the outside world. But beneath this shiny surface, a much darker reality was taking shape. Joseph de Mombreau's control was absolute. He dictated every aspect of members' lives, from their relationships to their finances. He claimed to channel divine beings and used elaborate special effects, holograms and hidden speakers, during ceremonies to fake supernatural events and convince his followers of his powers. This was high-tech manipulation, designed to keep everyone in line and reinforce his godlike status. As his paranoia grew, so did the financial and psychological pressure on the members. They were expected to donate vast sums of money, sever ties with non-believing family members, and submit completely to the leadership's will. The good of the Solar Temple, if we can call it that, was the initial sense of community and shared spiritual purpose it provided to its followers. It gave them a feeling of belonging and an answer to life's big questions. But this positive aspect was built on a foundation of lies and was ultimately a tool for manipulation. The wrong they did was catastrophic. The leaders preyed on people's spiritual searching and fears, isolating them from their support systems and draining them of their life savings. They created a bubble of paranoia and delusion from which it became almost impossible to escape. The psychological control was immense, warping their followers' perception of reality until the leaders' twisted vision was the only one they could see. The beginning of the end came in the early 1990s. Internal dissent began to surface. Some members started questioning de Mombreau's authority and the constant demands for money. A few even dared to leave, which was seen as the ultimate betrayal. The leaders grew increasingly paranoid, fearing exposure and the collapse of their carefully constructed world. This paranoia reached a fever pitch in 1994. The group committed its first act of violence in a village in Quebec, Canada. They murdered a 3-month-old baby, the child of a dissident member, believing the infant to be the Antichrist as proclaimed by de Mombreau. The baby's parents were also killed in the brutal attack. This horrific act was a point of no return. Just days later, the tragedy escalated. In 2 separate locations in Switzerland, 48 members of the order were found dead. Some had been shot, others poisoned. The chalets they were in were then set ablaze by intricate fire-starting devices. Among the deceased were the founders, Luc Jouret and Joseph Di Mambro. But this wasn't the end. Over the next few years, 2 more mass death events occurred. In 1995, 16 bodies were discovered in a star-shaped formation in the Vercors Mountains of France. And in 1997, 5 more members took their lives in Quebec. In total, 74 people lost their lives. The farewell letters left behind revealed their chilling mindset. They didn't see their deaths as an end, but as a transit, a necessary departure from a corrupt world to continue their journey to Sirius. They truly believed they were leaving a dying planet for a celestial paradise. This is the most profound and tragic legacy of the Solar Temple, the power of belief to override the most basic human instinct for survival. The leaders convinced their followers that this final terrible act was not a tragedy, but a triumph. So what can we learn from the Order of the Solar Temple? It is a powerful and cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked charismatic authority and the human need for meaning. It shows how intelligent, well-meaning people can be drawn into destructive ideologies when they are feeling lost or afraid. The story serves as a stark reminder to always question, to maintain our critical thinking, and to be wary of any group that demands absolute loyalty and isolation from the outside world. The promise of utopia can sometimes mask the most terrifying of intentions. The story of the Solar Temple is a complex web of spiritual hope, cynical manipulation, and ultimate tragedy. It's a chilling reminder that the search for a better world can, in the wrong hands, lead to the darkest of places. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. It's a heavy topic, but an important one to understand. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into fascinating and complex histories. Drop a comment below with your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay curious and stay safe.